Okay, this is going to be a pretty rough video because these models aren't made of separate shells like many that I've had split before. Unfortunately, normally what you do, you just go to edit and you do separate shells and it would split into groups, or you could use STL, Microsoft 3D Builder to separate into separate STL files. But this is a little bit more hassle. So if we can do generate face groups. Now all those colours there are what it's going to split into. What I tend to do, whether it's the right thing or not, I don't know, but whack the angle right up, whack the size threshold up. You want big pieces, big angles. Now, what you'll notice if you look carefully, say this arm joint, so the ball and the socket are purple. Let's say you wanted to detach that whole arm. At the moment, that's going to detach the front face from this ring, which is going to look a little bit crappy. So what you probably want to do is shrink that angle down until you get two different colours of that socket. 67, where are we? So 64 degrees. Oh, let's take it back up again. 64.93. There's one colour. 64.35, the different colour. Check the socket the other side, but you'll see that that's still blue on both bits. So we'll take it down just a little bit further. Okay, there we go. So that's let's try and get there again. Go some green, purple. About 56 degrees. That'll do. Right. The reason we want to use the face groups to create these sort of coloured sections is because it makes it easy to select areas. Right. If we accept that, that will now generate all those coloured face groups. So if we want to separate this whole arm with the gun, for instance, you can then go to select. Now I'm going to change the size of this brush to be more accurate. Now there's something's bugged out in my version of Meshmixer, so I've lost the circular blob that appears normally, and I get these big bright green flashes. I don't know what's going on. We didn't used to do that. Right, so what I'm going to do here is just go to each face group, double click it, and that will select it. So what we're looking for here is try to get everything that goes together in this one big arm. Now because we've generated the face groups in big coloured sections, it does help speed things up a little bit here. But all you've got to do is just go around and double click. Now you're going to find little areas where it's a little bit fiddly, like there for instance, where the face group generated slightly differently to the rest of it, but it's just a case of going around and trying to spot where the areas you are. Now double click should select it. Sometimes it doesn't seem to, or mine. I don't know whether I just... Oh no, and don't ever do that. Don't lasso by accident off the edge of it, because it'll undo all your selections. I suppose that's a good demonstration of what not to do. So let's quickly go through and grab all that again. If double click doesn't seem to work, just triple click it. Just keep clicking till it selects. Get all that. Get all those. Now what you don't want to do is miss any of these faces, because otherwise you'll end up with little floating bits in midair, and you'll have missing sections on the bits you're about to separate into separate parts. And we look in there, that's pretty good. And you get little things like this, where this little one little circle has a different colour to the other for some reason. Oh, the inside of that rim as well. So just have a look around and make sure that everything looks coppery. There's another purple bit there. Now it's a pain in the ass, and there may well be a better way of doing this, but I don't know what it is, and this software's out of support, and I've tried using Fusion 360, which supposedly has all the features of this in it, and I can't get to grips with it. There's a couple of little triangles there on that back part of that arm. Now we are nearly, I think, and then that purple bit again that we missed earlier. It's in there somewhere. You may need to zoom in and out a few times just to make sure that you've got all the bits that you need. Spin it around, let's have a look, let's have a look. Right, that looks pretty good. I think I've covered the whole of that surface. And what I haven't done is taken that ring around the arm into part of it. Then you just hit edit, separate. That's now a separate piece. And this is right. There's something bugged out in this version. This did this to me earlier as well when I was trying to prep this video. I don't know why it's done it. I've never had it happen before. Recenter the view. It's just gone. It's weird. Now I don't know whether this is my version of Meshmixer is playing up or there's some issue with these models. But what that should have done is if I show the object browser. Oh, that's odd. There we go. Oh, hang on. Ugh. I don't know what's happened there, but loads of things have turned inside out. So if I look at just that, hang on, let me turn off the visibility of that arm. Okay, so I missed that disc and that piece there. I think that's what's caused the issue. So, Control Z is your friend. Well, Control Z can be your friend. Yeah, so something went absolutely messed it all up in there. So now what I've got to do is find those little bits I missed. Let's move that out of the way. That is not looking good. Oh, okay, there's that big disc there that left a great big hole through it. Now the other one was in the back here somewhere. There it is, there it is. So hopefully now if we've got the correct pieces in place, edit, separate. Okay. Oh, no, seems to have gone to shit again. Let's try turning it off, tick on that, see, alright, there's one tiny little piece there that's made that one part into a crop piece. Now that's in there. So if we turn it back on again, undo it prior to it being split. Oh, there it is, there it is. I thought I couldn't see it then, but there we go. So now, hopefully, separate. Okay. Oh, no, it's still not quite right. There's still something missing. I don't see what it is there. That blue ring, I expect to see because that's where we split it off from the main model. Don't understand why that other piece is completely decimated like that. Oh, it's something. Let's turn that off, turn that just on its own. Oh, okay. Maybe it's just the fact that there's two of them next to each other that doesn't like it. Now, what we've got now, though, is a hole there. So, if you're going to turn this into a ball and socket joint, so you could have this in different positions on the model, what you could then do is draw a sphere, match it up size-wise onto here. Personally, I don't know how to do that Meshmixer. I'd use 3D Builder, SketchUp, some other tool that I'm familiar with to do it. I'm not going to go through it now. What you can do is you just want a flat surface because you want to be able to still mount that in the same place, maybe rotate it or mirror it and have your robot sort of left to right with the arms. If you do analysis, do inspector, that will say there's one problem there. So you've got a flat fill, you've got a minimal fill, you've got a smooth fill. To be honest, this is just a smooth flat surface, doesn't matter which one you use. Auto repair it, and that will get you a nice flat surface on that arm. You can then go to File, go to Export. Let's call that, is that a grenade launcher arm, for example. Now, personally, I always open any file that I've messed with in 3D Builder. So click the tick at the top left to make sure it's okay. There's no errors, there's no red box around it saying in repairs. Leave it alone. If it came up with a red box around it saying it needs repairs, repair it. Now, everything's gone to shite again. What I suggest we do at this point is delete that arm because we're not going to need it again. And then you repeat the same thing for the arm here. I mean, you could, with a bit of care, probably find a way to detach that hand, but you probably have to rebuild something inside because the hand actually goes through the handle. That's all going to be a bit awkward. So you may want to detach that arm plus the grenade launcher itself, the sort of the refill parts all as one piece. It's entirely up to you. You can obviously take the hatch, open the hatch up. You could then you could flat fill it, or if you wanted to, you could actually drill a hollow area into there. Maybe insert a little driver crewman. You could separate piece off of here. You could take the teeth off. Now, because of the angle I've picked, taking the teeth off here isn't really possible. That's where you'd reduce the angle in that initial selection. You can take the legs off, do the same thing again. If I do a select, go to crease angle. Because we're double clicking, it doesn't really matter. That's more to do with when you're sort of highlighting and looping areas. But if you wanted to take the whole leg, so we do the same thing again. You double click. We'd have to get those little rings in between. If you can just tell, there's a slightly different colour in between those slots. Same thing there. So it's a little bit, it's a bit fiddly, but it's certainly not impossible to pull off. You may find that using the lasso, if you figure out to use it properly, I hate using it because I always manage to select the wrong things. You might be able to select all these a lot quicker and do them all in sort of one big lump. But essentially, this is it, unfortunately, unless you can get a version of the model where it hasn't been normalised, had all the interior parts ripped out. Where the parts overlap each other, that's where you can ungroup them normally. This has had all of that interior geometry removed where the pieces would overlap and work. Now what you can do, I think, if I'm right, if you hold down the left control key and do a lasso, left shift key and do a lasso. There we go. So you can use the lasso. So I personally don't like using it because I quite often mess up and pick the wrong areas. Control lets you unselect stuff, I think, or shift control does, and shift just adds to your current selections. There's just a small purple bit in there. I can see it from here. Look at that. That's what you want to get at, and then you've got these other little areas here. The lasso won't lasso all the connected same colour to a part, but it will at least let you get to some of those tiny bits you couldn't normally get at. So, I mean, that looks pretty good. So we do the same thing again. Edit, separate. It all goes to hell again. So let's turn off the main body. Right, hang on. There's clearly a ring missing here, which is left it in a bit of a state. So let's undo. Turn it all back on. Where is it? There it is. Look, that little tiny thin green ring there. So just zoom in, click it. I think that looks about it. Yep, looks pretty good. So in the select. It's undone the select. Right, hold on. Right, just Control Z. If things go tits up like that and things get unselected for some reason, Control Z will normally get the menus back and undo whatever's happened. Right, edit, separate, turn off something. That looks like it's probably got everything. I don't see any holes there. Analysis, inspector. Found that one thing to fix. You can hit auto repair all if you've just got one blob like that. Just click it; it'll do the same thing. So that's a right leg. Export. Raid. Right leg. Now then, going to press delete on that part. View the other parts back again. And you see, so these holes are just going to need repairing. You do exactly the same thing on those as you would do once you've done them all. Do inspector, click, those holes are smooth filled. You can then, once it's printed, glue the parts onto those, and there you are. So you could pose the legs in different positions. Obviously if you split the legs up into small pieces you can do more with it, but it just becomes really, really complicated. So that should give you an idea how to split up a bit. However, if you can get hold of the author and get the unmerged models, would be quite useful if you can then allow you to put different poses on. Hopefully that helps a bit, and good luck.